Can you hear me? Yeah? Always a reminder, more baby gifts, more magic tricks. Dan? Where's your baby gift and magic trick? Come on.
My what?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, listen, thank you for having us. I'm Rick Hirst, I'm the Chief Exec of Carat, and with Dan, we lead the UK business. We got this brief to talk to you, this little topic about the entire future of agencies, about 2 days ago. So what you're going to see today is a bit of an opening of the kitchen doors, as it were. The reason why it's an opening of the kitchen doors is because we're spending probably an inordinate amount of our time thinking about this. So what we're going to call, what today's about is going, where do we go from here? And it's important we talk about where we're going to go from here because genuinely we're at a point in time where change is afoot. If I put this gentleman's picture up 2 years ago, not many people would have known who he was. But actually Mark Pritchard has become synonymous with a scrutiny of the media business like that we've never seen before. Certainly one I wasn't expecting when I joined from the creative businesses about 12 months ago. And there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about what it is happening at the moment. And that is coming from clients, it's coming from media owners, it's coming from intermediaries, it's coming from, from agencies themselves. And if you boil it all down, I think it comes down to two really important questions. What is the value of a modern media agency in what we do? And what are the values of an agency in this new world? How should we behave? And the implications of those questions are broadcast almost real time at the moment. This is just a snapshot of some of the kind of the wealth of comment. And as a CEO who runs an agency, this stuff is in my inbox every day. You know, it's about people, it's about change, it's about transformation, it's about reinvention. But importantly, it's also in the inboxes of the people who work in our agency. The young people who turn up every day who are sort of being told that it's broken. And that makes us sad because it genuinely, we are reliant on everybody in the agency to push the business forward, not just those who wear funny red wine-coloured shoes like me. And where's that left us? I think that's left us in an interesting spot. I've called it the tiger syndrome. And by that, I mean Tiger Woods. Media's lost its mojo a little bit. You know, a few years ago, Tiger Woods was just screaming a drive, 400 yards, down the middle, 2.5 feet from the pin, easy eagle, big check, go home to his happy wife. Well, maybe not that bit. And I think media agencies are now feeling some of the Tiger effect. You know, we feel like we're on the back foot a little bit. We feel like we've lost our mojo. It feels like we're on the defense. And I think that's fundamentally wrong. Today is a fantastic example of it too. Just a quick walk through the lobby to see the incredible innovations, the platforms. The digital economy is opening up the world of media like we've never seen before. We now have tools and platforms and opportunities to engage with customers and people like we've never had. And what sits at the heart of that is media. Media has never been as important in its ability to connect people with brands. And that's why I left 20 years, as it were, of making TV commercials and working in the creative side of the business to join the media. Because I saw this is where the innovation was happening. This is where I genuinely believed it was the most exciting place, and I still do now. But what do we need to do then? You know, we've lost our mojo, but what are we going to do about it? Well, I think the thing that's missing from our world at the moment is pride. We've lost our pride in what media expertise is. And pride is a fundamental part of why I come to work. I want to be proud of what I'm doing, but why everybody in our business comes to work. They want to be proud of what they're doing. And to get the pride back in our business, we've got to change. We've got to stop thinking short term. We've got to be more innovative, and we've got to look forwards about what we can do next. And our clients are doing it now. I mean, I love this. This is the Amazon purpose, which you view 2 clicks on their website, their corporate website you get. They didn't write a purpose which was about, we want to be really retail, we want to be really customer-centric in the retail and give good shopping experiences. No, they said, we want to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. That's ambition, right? And if they're doing it, agencies should learn from doing that too. It's all about being people first. People first, not only in our external applications of what we do, i.e. our clients, but people first also internally, in our working with our own teams and empowering and exciting our own people about why they threw their chips in to work in media. So, what does client-centric mean? What is a client-centric media business? When I was in my formative years, one of the first things I got taught in an agency was that the pencils had to be a certain way, that if the receptionist didn't know the name of the children, the dog, and the registration plate of your client, it was a disciplinary offence. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what we're going to do now, okay? That's not what I mean. But I mean that ethos, that care, that sense of we are going to make sure that every single minute that our client engages with anybody in our business is going to be the most valuable minute of their week. I think we've lost a bit of that. I genuinely do. And I think we can do, but there's some really important things we can do to make that better and get there. So I've got 3 things I'd like to talk to you about. First one is making things simple. Now, media plans have gone from 10 lines to 100 lines. And there are now incredible complex ecosystems and convergence planning that we do in order to create really powerful answers. But we don't tell very simple stories. I sit in pitches, I sit in presentations, and I hear too much about the workings out. I don't see enough that tells a client exactly why they should be doing this and why it's going to get them from A to B faster, quicker, and more efficiently than their competition. I think we've got to get better at that. And the second thing is, when I joined Dentsu Aegis 4 years ago now, we had 12 businesses or so in the UK. We've now got 25 agency brands within the group. And I've not yet met a client in my time who said to me, can you pop along to a meeting and give me some more brand names that work for your company and cross-sell them, please? They don't do that. What they do say is, you're our partner, you understand our business, how do you put these things together with the very best people you've got in order to help me answer my business challenges? Forget about brands. It's actually about capabilities. So we've got to make things simple. The second piece, and this is probably the more challenging one, and probably the one that's in the most spotlight at the moment, is how do we make things open? So openness, in this context for me, means being open about how we make money. Being open about how we want to make money working with our clients. And do you know what? It's really fine that we want to make money. We're businesses. We've got targets. We want to reward people through growing our own business. So it's fine, but we do need to be much clearer about how we want to make money and how we are going to make money with clients. But also be open about the food chain, especially the investment chain of what we do. Clients want to know clients should be expected for us to be able to tell them where we're spending their money, on what, and what it's doing. And until we do that, we are going to be labeled with some of the words that we're getting thrown at us at the moment. And we've got to do it better. And the final piece is being valuable. We've got to make media valuable. Media is valuable. So, what does that mean? Well, what are our aligned metrics of success that all of us agree to? That all of us can go to our client and say, we have delivered this when you spent that, and this is what you've got out of it. And until we're having simple conversations that are around aligned metrics, it's just baffle. It's just cod bullshit. And we're making it up to try and justify why we're there. We've got to have a set of metrics that show we're fundamentally driving growth. But the second piece of valuable also is why we're valuable. Okay. Now, there are not enough clients, and there's some clients in the room here because I've seen some of the badges. There are not enough clients who are challenging me as an agency leader. I'm trying to say, I want to align your success with mine. Not about FTEs, it's not about how many warm bodies can you get away with on a piece of business. It's actually about what are you doing to my business, and therefore how can you grow it, and if you do, I will reward you for it. That's what the business of trust is built on. Because then when I come to you with a suggestion or an answer for a solution, you're not thinking about, well, is there a commission somewhere in the food chain? You're going, they believe in this, because if it doesn't work, they aren't going to be paid for it. So I think we need to be much more open about the value of what we do. And what about people? How do you make an agency more people-centric? Why is a business being more people-centric important? Well, the average age of a media agency is now about 25 years, 26 years, ours is anyway. So, we have a lot of people in there who have committed their early careers to coming doing this. And they want to feel proud of what they do. They genuinely want to go home to their mums and dads and say, I didn't go to work at Arthur Andersen, Mum, but I went to work at Carat, and it's brilliant, and I love it. And show them some things that they've done. And showing the evidence of what we do is a really important part of this. Because a people-centric business cares about work. Cares about the work we deliver for our clients every single day. Now, I love the work, and part of my DNA is the work. My favorite meeting every week is a Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock, where we, as a leadership team at Carat, sit down with any team, any person in the agency, and go through a brief and talk about a live brief. And there's no hierarchies. In fact, in many respects, we're the most junior people in the room because we know the least about the client. And it's brilliant. We talk about work. We talk about things like, Speed Factory, an amazing new piece of work that we're doing with Adidas, where they can make a trainer from, I'd like it to be this, to here's the box in 4 hours. But it's about the work. Young people want to go home and say, look what I did. I worked on this campaign. And we've got to push the work further. The second thing is, although the work is important and is massively important, the work requires time, and it requires headspace, and it requires being able to throw yourself in and genuinely absorb yourself in a client's business. And at the moment, we're asking far too much of the people who work in our businesses. So, while robots, and yet to be proved, can't write a fantastic idea, they can help us create a much more frictionless, efficient system of delivery that frees up our talented people to think about their clients and the problems that they're facing, not the billing chain that goes from one end to the other and takes 36 steps. So we're doing a lot of work at the moment to investigate how we can genuinely embrace cumulative, collaborative tools that allow us to take the friction out of the media process. And then finally, you can't do a conversation about being a people-centric business really without talking about diversity. Now, it's called the diversity agenda. I think that's nonsense. I think it should be called the diversity imperative. I find it quite fundamentally wrong that we believe that we are representative of a group of people and brands, yet don't reflect the different amazing aspects of the British public within our own businesses. And that's got to change. It's not about quotas. It's about being relevant. We've got to be relevant to the brands and businesses we serve, and we'll do that by bringing in collisions of brilliant, different, diverse talents that add something and challenge and change the way we do things. And a really small example of this is that what you see here on the left was a piece of work that we did for Pringles, 24 hours from the Pride Festival this year. And there was no money involved in this project. We begged, borrowed, and stole. We didn't steal. Let's not say that on the public stage. We borrowed favours from media owners and partners to get this work live because we absolutely believed it was a brilliant thing for the brand to do. And the people who worked on this worked 2 all-nighters. They didn't get overtime. They did it because they were absolutely proud of the work. They were proud of what they achieved in a short space of time. But it's that pride that, yes, there is a pun in pride. Dan told me not to say the pun about pride. So I won't do the pun about it. But there was a massive buzz in the agency that came from work like this. Doesn't drive the business. I've not got my FD skipping downstairs with a massive invoice. But what we do have is a reputation as a business that can genuinely take on interesting, tactical, live challenges and get really smart people thinking about them. So, people-centric, client-centric. I hope that gives you a flavor of some of the things we're thinking about. Dan's going to take you through Santander now, which is an example of a piece of business that we're trying to do a lot of this on.
Thanks, Rick. Good afternoon, everyone. So Santander is a client that we as an agency have worked with for about 17 years. And actually, I think that's one of the reasons that we're pushing a lot of this agenda with that particular client, because there's a huge amount of trust. There's a huge amount of legacy. There's been a lot of stability in the people we talk to within the client organization. So we're starting in a really, really good place. And we need to shift this across a larger part of the client base to push this agenda forward. So from Santander's perspective, they're a bank. They're a high street bank, as I'm sure you're aware, and they're facing a lot of the challenges. Massive amount of digitization. Financial services industry is changing significantly, both from a legislation perspective, but also in terms of how customers are interacting. And they have a pretty complex ecosystem. They have a lot of data, which is both good and also very, very challenging. They have a tremendous amount of challenges, channels that they interact with their customers. Some of which are incredibly expensive. A lot of branches all over the country, and then digital. How do I find the right balance between those two areas? And thinking about simple, thinking about open, and thinking about valuable, I just want to talk about three things that we've been working on to try to make this work a little bit better. First of those is about simple. As you can imagine, Santander is an organization, very complex. There's a CRM team, there's a marketing team, there's an e-commerce team. There's a legal team, there's a compliance team. We also, Rick talked about 25 opcos. We do their performance digital through iProspect. We do all their data and CRM work through Merkle. We do all their media through Carat. We do some youth insight work through 46. We sort of stripped all of that away through culture. Now, they were very cognizant. They couldn't get rid of the silos in their business, certainly not quickly. So we tried to rise above all of those bits and pieces, and we now behave, including Engine, the creative guys, as one team, one brief on every project. Now that sounds super obvious. It's actually really, really hard to do and really, really hard to stick to. But that collaborative approach has meant that we're getting solutions that are the right solutions for Santander's customers, and ultimately that's what we have to put right at the heart of all of this. The second one is about being open. This really was about creating a roadmap for the future, and I think this came for this particular client because of the relationship we've had with them for a long time. We're doing work with them that's really, really fascinating, and it isn't about how do we put comms in market, it's about how do we take what we understand of communications, what we understand of consumers in the future, and apply that back into Santander's own business to work out how they need to change themselves so they then can put comms into the marketplace over the next 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. And some of those changes are quite significant in terms of how they build products, how they put consumer insight in the middle of their business, how they work more collaboratively, as to the first point, but also how they should be bringing proper stacks of data to bear, proper stacks of technology to bear, to be able to chart a much more balanced, a much more open and well-understood course between the agency partners and all of those individual client stakeholders. And then finally about valuable. Last week, the IPA ran an effectiveness week. I'm sure many of you took part in one of those. What struck me, we did an event in Carat, was that there were far too few businesses measuring their success in a really effective way. So we've brought in a comprehensive modeling suite that looks at both all of their above-the-line activity, really solid attribution underneath that, but importantly, a really interesting bit of work looking at how their brand equity is built within people's minds. I think it's important to be looking at both of those because what success tomorrow can be very different to what success in the future is, and you need to understand the dynamic between the short term and the long term. Really, really important. Good thing is, we are delivering against really clear and aligned goals. So all of this is wrapped behind two key things: driving NPS against customers and future customers, and driving loyalty, or customer value, if you like. And everything we do ladders up to just those two KPIs. So we all understand, all the agency teams and all the client teams understand exactly what we're doing. So what does this mean as a summary? Very quickly, we need to move from agencies behaving as a service to agencies acting with leadership, worrying about price to worrying about the value we deliver to our clients, acting and behaving as suppliers to acting and behaving as partners, and focusing on the outcomes we deliver for clients' businesses, not on the intermediate outputs that really are just diagnostics. We've got to focus on the end goal. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.